Live and in color. Real Kyper and Bourne show. Leaf Hour edition. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, Jake the Snake Schultz closing in the week.
You should have seen the videos we had from Schultz yesterday. Highlights all show long.
No, stop it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Bring up a player
fire.
in the league, and he had a highlight package for it.
What is going on?
I don't know.
He knew you weren't here. And he was like, "I want to."
Are they starting to pay him now?
Maybe that's a change. I don't know.
You guys drove in today. I took the subway in today.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking to ourselves today? It's just quiet out there.
Oh, yeah.
There's not the
Not a lot on the
roads are a
road.
little quiet.
Good Friday, Easter weekend, wherever you are.
Text
but-
us and tell us you're listening.
Yeah,
I'd love
please
to hear.
tell us.
Yeah.
Is this a friends and family show?
That's okay.
And even my family's not watching or listening.
I think we have a lot longer leash to talk golf if you guys want.
Yeah. I'm playing tomorrow.
Wherever you are watching and listening, if you happen to be, we are live on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Sportsnet 360, and Sportsnet Plus as the Toronto Maple Leafs close out the regular season.
Red hot. Scorching hot.
Was it a game that we thought we were anticipating, including what should have been or looked upon going into the third period as a comfortable lead by the Detroit Red Wings?
I don't know what happened. Did they win? At least one?
I did Leafs talk. I'm actually embarrassed about Leafs talk last night because I don't even know if we should have done it. Like, I could not bring myself to pay attention to this hockey game. And I said that Peter Mrazek was in net and it was somebody else in net.
Like, Dakota Murmis was on the ice in overtime. It could have been anyone.
I had to rewind because I physically missed a goal. I was like, oh my God, they scored? How did that happen? Like, I was never more checked out of a hockey game.
Even if you were checked out,
Yeah.
even if you didn't pay attention, there was enough of the game to understand that there's a lot of nice things going on right now for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes.
There's a lot of vibes that they can't do anything wrong right now.
Yeah.
Right? You can be outshot. At times you can look like you spend a lot of time in your own zone. They're going to find a way to get a save. They're going to find a way to get a goal.
Yep.
Lawton wins it in overtime.
Love that.
On a feel good goal that maybe can go right into Sunday's game 1 or Tuesday's game 2.
Yes, he's buzzing.
And it's a real good feeling for the Leafs.
I mean, they got goals from Phil Myers, Chris Tanev, and Scott Lawton to win the game.
I got, there's been a lot of probably down periods over the Yzer plan in Detroit, but them losing that game may be a new low for them.
What, Red Wings?
Yeah, I've never seen a Toronto Maple Leafs team or any hockey team, in fact, not try actively like the Toronto Maple Leafs were not trying
if I'm
last
Steve
night.
Eiserman last night, and I know it's a nothing game, but I'm up 3-1, and you guys find a way to just
brutal.
give it away.
It's brutal.
I can't think of a cherry on top of a horrible
Poop
feeling
sandwich?
than that last night for the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a bad year for them. It's going good for the Leafs. I think they enter playoffs on a run of 13-2-1, something like that.
The Maple Leafs ended the season with a streak of 5 or more games for the third time in franchise history. The only other seasons were in 50-51, and 58-59, and they made the Stanley Cup final in each of those campaigns, winning the championship in 1951. So that's definitely, there's a lot of crossover there.
I don't know what, again, not paying a whole lot of attention to the game last night, but you look up and is it surprising or not surprising anymore, or does it even matter that they're being outshot 2-1 anymore? Does that bother you? Does it not bother you?
Yeah,
Should we not care?
Well, I stopped thinking about it.
I don't like it personally. I don't like it.
No, it's not great. But, I mean,
Doesn't matter anymore?
I mean, it probably does matter, but I'm so desensitized to it watching this team that they just, what's the record in games that got outshot in? They've won so many of them. It just feels like it happens every game. So it's probably not good to your guys' point, but that's what I expect going in, and I'm totally desensitized to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not super comforting. I'd say I'm more uncomfortable with the idea that the possession time, the ozone possession time is always 5 minutes in favor of the other team. Just the more team they're around your end, the more things can go wrong and you go, oh, we got unlucky. It's like, well, if you're on your own end all the time, it's going to happen. So, yeah, I'm not comfortable, but they seem to have a system here.
A knack for playing around it.
Yeah. And I guess what it is, you keep the other team to the outside and there isn't the party around the crease. And, buddy, they got elite finishing. That's one thing for sure.
Just to follow up, I asked if people were listening. People are listening. We got in the last 10, maybe 5 minutes, we've got 150 texts at least. Be like, listening from this place. So people are listening.
All right.
So we're glad we came in. People are listening. We got to make it good.
I do like that Phil Myers scored a really nice goal. I like the confidence coming along. Well, he's the 7th D, right?
Yeah.
So he'll probably have to play. You want him to feel good. You don't like it?
It's a beautiful goal.
I'm not sure I want him to try that Sunday night.
Ever again.
Do you remember the movie Major League when Willie Mays Hayes makes that one-handed basket catch and he comes to the dugout and his manager says, "Nice catch. Don't ever effing do it again." That's almost close to nice toe drag in the middle of the slot, but don't ever try.
There we go.
Right? It's good on him. I mean, great.
The move at the net, he doesn't mean to do. He hesitates.
You just make sure that there's no turnover at that point.
Watch the defensive effort by 24 here. I think it's awesome watching them.
Wow, we're getting highlights when we when we talk about something.
That's McKee Beer League-esque. Let's listen to the coach talk about that goal because it's a hilarious clip. So clip one, please.
He's really come around for us. I thought in Buffalo.
What did you think of Robert Gordon Meyer's goal there in the third period?
That might be the goal of the year. I gotta go back and look at it, but I wasn't sure who it was for a while watching it. It was a hell of a goal. I mean, a hell of a goal. I mean, great for him. I'm happy for him. Nice to see him be able to get one and do what he did.
He's been sniffing by the way, and shooting everything that he can.
I did the thing on our Leafs broadcast where he shoots it more than any other Leafs D by a good distance.
And there was a moment with a minute or so left in the period where for some reason Craig Berube had the big boys on the ice. And Matthew Nyes is standing in front of the net.
And he wound up.
Philip Myers hit a 98-mile-an-hour blast off the glass.
Is it actually 98?
Yes, they put on the broadcast 98 mile an hour. And I just put my head in my hands. I was like, oh, my God. Oh, my God, man. What?
Wild Thing. Let's stick to Major League movie. There's Charlie Sheen Wild Thing.
There's no off switch. Yeah. There's no off switch. Anyways.
All right. Any other notes from last night's game? I don't think we should spend too much time on it. Lawton scores the OT winner.
Yeah.
He's really starting to find his game a little bit. Well, let's just listen to Berube and then we'll move on.
Yep.
He's really come around for us. I thought in Buffalo he was excellent, but before that he was even playing good hockey. Got some chemistry going with those guys. Starting to feel a lot more comfortable. I was happy for him to get that goal in OT. Obviously, anybody can. You score a goal, you feel good about yourself. So, but it's not the goal so much; it's just how he's playing the game.
Lawton scored the goal and turned around to be excited, they hit, and then he realized that there's not a time to be excited, and he immediately chilled out.
Don't be too fancy.
That he didn't get to.
It did clinch home ice advantage over the Dallas Stars in the Stanley Cup Final. So.
Hey, did it really? That's actually kind of cool.
There you go.
I totally believe, with Craig and everybody else, that he's playing solid hockey. There's a noticeable feel when he's on the ice. I got to just go back to my original thoughts before the trade was how big of a trade did they need to make? How big did they need to get another centerman at what kind of level? I pushed hard. At least my thoughts were pushing hard for more of a legitimate top six guy.
Like a Braden Shen.
Clearly that's not him. I think he's starting to do what I think he's capable of doing. Mm-hmm. But there's just going to have to be some sort of run in these playoffs where he has to contribute in some capacity offensively. And is he capable of doing it?
Well, I don't know about offensively. He does need to contribute something, though, right? He needs to be for the cost they paid, and he needs to be, whether
Yeah.
it's controlling play, physical greasiness, some
No,
offense. Yeah.
Offense for me, because we can point a lot of things over the last few years, but it's always come down to lack of scoring opportunities or lack of offense in general. That's kind of held them back in game 6s and game 7s. And then we point the fingers to the big boys, say, you suck, you're soft, you're underachievers, but nobody stepped up underneath them either. And I just hope that doesn't catch up with the third and fourth line again, that, they were okay and they did a lot of nice things and they finished checks, but nobody could create anything.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that's the worry.
And I do think that the way they're trying to go about creating a third line is in line with what you're saying. They're aware that they need to get some offense from somewhere. So can McMahon and Robertson on the same line? Is there enough between those guys? 35 goals between the two of them this year. Holmberg has, 2?
Yeah.
But,
I
can
think
they give you some?
That's probably why, and your point that you just made there, Kyper, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, how we know that line with Tavares, Nylander, and Bobby McMahon is really good. But for what you said just there about it being down the lineup, them getting another goal from somewhere other than the top 6, that's probably why McMahon's playing in the bottom 6. That's probably why they're thinking of having Robertson, because they need a goal from somewhere else. So, anyways,
all right.
Battle of Ontario, baby.
Battle of Ontario. Kip, we didn't have you yesterday.
Yes.
We did some preview-y type stuff. Do you want to give us sort of a zoomed out overview? What do you think? They got the Sens. It's official.
Well, I expect a fun series for sure.
Yep.
I think when I look at the Ottawa Senators, I see a team that is experiencing something that they've never experienced before, right? So the question is, what kind of team do we see? Where are their expectations? Where are they in their heads? Brady Tkachuk is the leader of this team. He's 25. He's not 22 or 23. He's 25, yet no playoff experience.
Right.
So how does he come in now? Is this a win that they're in? Will they look at, will they actually feel like we want to beat these guys? Are we just happy to be here? Is this our Stanley Cup if we beat the Toronto Maple Leafs in this first round?
Yeah.
So for me, it's just about, and I think we'll probably know real soon in the first 5 or 10 minutes of this team, and if they really believe that despite being very successful during the regular season, this is new territory for all of them. I'm just real interested to see how much juice that they bring.
Do you think that that inexperience and sort of all the stuff you talked about there could be a bit of an advantage against the Leafs, or is it a disadvantage? Like, because, the Leafs have the ghosts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I think you could go both ways in the conversation, but which side of it would you be on, disadvantage or advantage for the Sens?
Probably a disadvantage. I do believe in learning lessons and playoff lessons and learning how to rise when you have to. There's no scar tissue like on the other side in blue and white.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's no disappointments just yet at this time of the year. But do they go, we got everything to gain, nothing to lose? It wouldn't be the first time we saw a fairly young and experienced group find a way to get a job done.
Yeah.
I just think it's against them right now. I think when it's all said and done, I don't know how anybody cannot pick the Toronto Maple Leafs despite losing to them 3 games in the regular season.
Honestly, Kip, everything I hear that is picking against the Leafs is Brady Tkachuk, and the Leafs haven't done it before. That's pretty much the whole thing. Everyone loves this idea of Brady Tkachuk, who
He's now Wayne Gretzky and Eric Lindros combined.
Yeah. He had 55 points in 72 games this year. I think it would not serve the Leafs well to get too hung up on Brady Tkachuk. He's going to try to send messages. He's going to be falling on the goalie. He's going to be tough and physical and all those things. But, he's one guy out there, and I don't think you can let him bring the game to where the Sens are going to want to play it. And even if they do play it there, I still think the Leafs are all right. I've done a lot of the analytical stuff. I've watched some video. it's tough for me to find a spot where I'm like clear advantage for the Sens.
Yeah. See,
Sanderson.
I wouldn't worry about
As a number
Brady Tkachuk as much as I would think that maybe Cousins and Pinto to me are more keys in this series. Like that's now going into the middle part in the heart of your lineup, right?
Yeah.
This is where it's like /2 to 3. Like is Pinto going to be a better centerman than what's underneath Matthews and Tavares?
Probably.
And like he's got a better chance to be a Nick Paul than right now
Yep.
Lawton does.
Yep. Pinto, 21 goals, kind of the same profile as Bobby McMahon, but has more grease to his game probably. He's a good player for them. They
very
got
good
good
player.
players, right? Like they've won a lot of hockey games this year and taken a real step.
The other thing too for me, guys, is how much are you going to spend? How much are you going to get Sanderson and Shabbat facing the glass?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
you got them facing Stolars at any point on the ice, then you're in a little bigger trouble. But if you can get the puck behind them, get them eating some glass on a hard forecheck, take away their strengths, which is puck possession and skating, then you've really advanced your chances of beating them.
For sure. That's the big thing. And Bunkus mentioned this earlier today when I was on a show, but they have 2D in Sanderson and Shabbat who combined for over 100 points this year. The Leafs top 4 roughly grade out to that. So they've got a couple better offensive D-men. On the power play, it's not a huge advantage because the Leafs have Marner there. But at 5-on-5, it will be, to your point, can you put it in soft behind their heels and get on top of them? Dumps are going to be really important. You don't want to be dump and then change and give them time to get back. It's got to be well-placed pucks in.
And I really think that the guys on the Leafs can do a much better job, and particularly Matthew Nyes. Again, I didn't watch a lot of it, but the last week, 2 weeks, like there's times when you don't have to dump and chase. There's times when you can enter with puck possession and make plays.
You'd like to see that.
And I'd like to see better decisions on when to and when not to.
Absolutely.
There are times when I've watched them try to get pucks in and the first or second forechecker are just not there in time, and it's been easy outs.
It's a turnover.
Even in Detroit last night, I mean, I know it's a write-off, but there's times, especially that Florida game a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, it's like, but you're not, the first forechecker's not even on my television screen, right? You guys want to give away it's just a 200-foot turnover.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
We had
The forechecking and getting on in these guys is paramount.
going to be huge. We had Berube a clip yesterday talking about Domi, Nylander, and Tavares. And he said, I like some things, I don't like other things. And one of the things is they got to take care of the puck. That's a nerve-wracking line for me when you're coming across the blue line, making those good decisions at entries and not trying to sauce it across the ice laterally, just inside the blue. So
Use the word hoper.
Yeah.
Hopers.
no hope
Hopers?
plays. Yeah.
Hopers.
Hopers.
Hey, just
No
hope this gets
hopers.
over his stick, and then we're fine if it does. It's like, well, it might not. So, yeah, take care of the puck. They should be okay. They got the best forwards in the series. Goaltending, call it a wash. The Leafs D, shutdown D, are a definitely better D farther down the lineup. So,
And there's one team that has to win, and there's another one that doesn't have to win.
yep.
I'll give you one guess on who has to win this series.
The Sens aren't going to go away, though. Even if you do have them down 3-0 in the series and 3-0 in a game, I think you're going to get a balls out effort from this team. This is, that's how they play, and it's the Leafs and it's playoffs, and I just don't think you're going to get them to go away.
Yeah, I think that, you mentioned about one team that has to win and one team that doesn't. We talked about this a little bit yesterday with Luke Fox, but I'll get your take on it. The Ottawa Senators, Borny brought up that they're holding what was the comparison you made? That there's a boulder, the Toronto Maple Leafs are a boulder, and the Ottawa Senators are holding like the TNT thing with like, so when you press that, if they press down on it, like it can explode the whole thing.
They have a chance.
The Ottawa Senators have a great chance as a bitter rival to really throw a wrench into as the Leafs sort of era that we've known as it is. They could really like hit the dynamite and blow it up here.
Acme.
Yeah.
Acme.
This could be, they got an unbelievable opportunity.
So, I mean,
This would come across almost like a Stanley Cup victory for Ottawa, beating the Leafs right now. Like,
for sure.
It would, even if they lost in the second round, it would be.
Oh yeah,
You could you could ride this.
Oh, yeah.
Series win
Years.
for a lot of years.
For the rest of my life here. Because I still hear about the stupid 2021 one.
Would you retire?
We did kind of bat this around a bit, but, there's that classic Monday after, which we've been doing a few years here, that Monday after Game 7 Saturday night, that I would really, really not like that show. Having to come in here and talk about the potential of that.
You've done a few of them. You should be used to it.
I've done many non-shows to just Mondays I've had to go on with my life before I did this, where I had to deal with it. So the Sens have a really unique opportunity. And if I was going to say what worries me is that a lot of the pressure and a lot of the stuff that's been there with the Leafs,
it's still there.
It's huge pressure to kind of win, to stay together almost. Like, you want to stay together. It's like you want Marner to resign. You want Tavares back. You want to keep your president. You want your coach to not be under fire.
Yeah.
The pressure on top of that is huge. Yeah. So
it is. I
they're
think
better than they've been, though.
Every team in the playoffs go through that. They're just not under the microscope like they are in this market. Mm-hmm. But everybody feels the same way. Everybody's got guys that are on the line. And the truth is, even Stanley Cup champion teams now, there's just no ways. Many of them, most recently Florida, shows that you just can't keep. There's no such thing as the same team the following year. Yeah. Somebody's leaving. Someone's cashing out more money. Someone's UFA. Someone's got to get traded to fit somebody else in. Right. So, but this is a series that could also alter for the Leafs maybe the next 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah.
So no pressure.
But as you said, there's always pressure. Yeah. And for the Sens team, I think it's doing the Leafs favor that so many people don't believe in the Leafs, that so many people are picking Ottawa. I think it's not purely, well, the Leafs can't possibly blow this because everyone's going, they're going to blow it. There's so many people making that call in advance this year.
One team won the division, one's in a wild card spot. Like, predictions, there's always the cheerleading aspect of it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who are picking Ottawa are just playing off of not wanting the Leafs to watch the Leafs in their misery again.
It's an easy, if you're an out-of-market pundit that's like looking for any sort of attention, picking the Sens to win the series is the easiest pop ever. Like, you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
The Leafs are going down. Those chokers are going to choke again. It's the easiest thing you could ever say.
The same people that would have picked Tampa Bay or Florida or
Boston,
anybody else,
Columbus, or the Montreal
It's just
Canadiens.
their time of the year to blow it.
Yeah,
and that's the basis, not necessarily the transformation of a puck possession team to now a dump and chase team, a team that keeps it simple, a team that's getting great goaltending, doing it defensively with blocking shots and taking the middle of the night, the ice away, or limited second or third opportunities. They're not looking at anything like that. They're looking at, they'll find a way to choke.
So let's have the conversation just briefly then. Do you think that there is something to these guys that not that they are chokers, but they do succumb to the pressure?
You know me, okay, Marner, Matthews, they haven't been great, but they haven't been horrible in the playoffs. I'm more about team even around them. Mm-hmm. Brendan Shanahan chose to keep them together and build differently around them.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that.
There's been like 5 different versions of this team.
I don't know if it's enough to win a Stanley Cup, but everything I've seen so far this season is enough to get past the first round against a wild card team.
Absolutely.
A team with zero experience.
Yeah. I said,
and that to me is the biggest difference of this team.
Yeah.
Whether they'll ultimately end up having enough balanced offense, still a question mark for me.
Mhm.
But they're different.
If they're different. Their D is just so much more. It's just comfortable, and it hasn't been in the past.
Yeah.
When you get back to Lilligren's there, or Timmins, or
Yeah.
Sandine, or whichever type of smaller guy that was playing Dermott.
That honestly is like the number one Leaf fan thing that I get right now is that it does feel different. And like, there's but
It is because it is different.
I know, but that is scary, Terry.
Yeah.
We
Now-
need Craig
now,
Berube
You
hockey.
want to go back to your original kind of question here. They find a way to lose. Yeah. Then you've tried this
There's
way.
pain coming.
You've tried that way, and now you're into some serious character flaws. And I also buy into 4 pretty good hockey players in Tavares, Marner, Matthews, and Nylander.
Yeah.
All
Very good.
terrific hockey players, but there's a chance that their chemistry together
Yeah,
was never
that would be
The-
a better
the-
point to me than
the right mix. And if you looked at other top 3 or top 4, there's most often than not one SOB in
One
the group.
squirrely dude.
One squirrely dude, one guy that can run somebody over, and that's the element that those 4 guys never had.
Yep.
And probably won't have. They're going to outskill you. They'll-
Nyes helps because he'll be on the ice with those guys, and at least
Yes.
he's the first guy who could do it if he wanted to.
But Nyes also had to go get a fast pass at Disneyland because he wasn't allowed. They had to fast track him. Right? He didn't have to wait in line like everybody else. He got rushed right to the
Because
ride
they needed someone.
because they needed somebody. Is he ready now to be that guy? Has he got enough under his belt to be now a major player in the playoffs?
What do you think?
I worry about that.
Okay.
There are times when, he's can get lost as any 22 or 23-year-old, but there's also signs where you're like, oh man, that guy's a force.
Yeah.
That guy's a force.
They have a couple guys who are really streaky. Matthews is included this season, but McMahon's like that, Nyes is like that, where they're really streaky. The one thing about the point of like guys choking or feeling the pressure or whatever, you hear people say pressure is a privilege. I often think, and I tried to say this the other day, but pressure is earned. So like McElroy, if he misses he makes bogey on 18 at the Masters, whatever, choking dog, whatever, if Rose holes out from the fairway,
Yeah.
whatever. But he hits the thing on 17 under immense pressure to 2 feet.
Yes.
He plays enough good golf to put so the pressure's there. That's this Leafs team, that they're not dogs. If you go back and watch a lot of these playoff series, they play great in some big spots, like some game 6s to get to a game 7. Some big goals have been scored to get there. So it's not like they're always just dogs in these moments. It's that sometimes you lose, sometimes it doesn't go your way. Yes, it's been more often than not, they've been on the wrong side of it, and there are bigger reasons for that. But for sure, if it happens again with a group that looks like this, it's tough to not look at and say, hey, that's a fundamental thing. But I do feel like a little bit of help around him. Give him that Max Talbot 2 goals in Game 7 or the Nick Paul goals in Game 7. All of a sudden,
Brandon
the belief-
Gallagher against the Leafs in
Just
Game
Yeah.
7.
constant big saves, which they've gotten this year.
Yeah.
Unlike any year I've seen before.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does it catch up to them at some
At
point?
least they have a second option.
Maybe,
It
but
does.
they're damn good goalies.
Yeah.
Stolarz in his last 8 games, 8-0-0, 137 goals against, 950 save percentage, and 3 shutouts.
950.
to say to end the year.
We've seen goalies go on 2-3 week runs in the playoffs the last 5 or 10 years at like 948, 953, 955. That's what the Leafs may need out of Stolarz. He may need a 940 for the first 10 days or 2 weeks
Yeah.
to get these guys over the hump.
You know what happened in the final week of the season? Hellebuck had the goals against, the save percentage, the wins. He had all the titles. Stolarz hit the qualification. I think the minimum is 20 or 30 games or something like that. And he had like
He
3 shutouts.
pickpocketed.
He did. He stole it. He won the save percentage title.
Love it.
Over the last 2 years, I think he's won it both times. He's the number one guy. 926
Yeah.
he finished with.
So, Treliving got asked about him. I didn't get the clip. It was a longer one of him meandering a little bit about it, but talking about how, the experience thing, and he's inexperienced in the playoffs, and he's been playing well. We're just going to hope that he just keeps playing well. It's like, I don't know what else you can do, but they have a really good backup option who came in relief for Samsonov last year. Like, think about last year where they were at in terms of their decor, in terms of their goaltending situation. I have to give Treliving a lot of credit for the way he's built up the surrounding parts.
Having Tanev and Carlo as options that they didn't have last year is just totally a game changer.
Like, think about the decor itself. You have a top pair with Tanev and McCabe. Carlo they brought in. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who's probably going to be on the bottom pair.
Jake McCabe's coming in healthy now. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Yep.
I just hope they have OEL. I know he's TBD, but yes, having McCabe back is going to be a big deal.
So, yeah. I went on with the morning show guys today and talked a little bit about the Leafs playoffs and heading like beyond this round potentially.
Mm-hmm.
It's set up not awfully here for the Toronto Maple Leafs to go on a run.
Yeah.
If Tampa could find a way to beat Florida in that series, and the Leafs find a way to beat the Ottawa Senators, like, then you start thinking to yourself, I mean, they've had really good success against Tampa. And then you go to the quarter, and it's like, oh, we got to play against Carolina or or Washington or the Habs or the Devils. Like,
start with this one, right?
I know,
No,
but
I know what you're saying.
You look at it, and it's not as daunting as it's been in years past. And I guess that's what you get when you win the Atlantic Division. But I'm not letting myself get too ahead here. But I'm kind of starting to look at it.
So last year in playoffs, the Leafs had 7D who played games for them, and it was Simon Benoit, TJ Brody, Timothy Liljegren, Joel Edmondson, Ilya Lyubushkin, Morgan Riley, and Jake McCabe.
Wow.
That's a
comparison.
No comparison to having Carlo Tanev and OEL.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take a quick break.
Yep.
When we return, we go to our Leaf line, Sammy.
Oh, baby. We got some beauties today.
Yeah.
We got some beauties today. Boys.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and did you guys do it when I was gone?
Did we do it when he was gone? Did we have Yele play some clips from
I don't
anyone?
think so.
No, maybe.
We didn't do it. So it's
No.
2 weeks by. You guys were too busy burying me for losing the jersey when I was gone.
That's right.
We'll hit the break and then we'll come back. Please.
Okay, Leaf line when we return, and the latest on Matthew Tkachuk and the possibilities of him playing in Game 1.
All right.
Don't go away. Real Kyper and Bourne. You heard the man during the commercial break. 2 games starting our Stanley Cup playoffs here at Sportsnet. Tomorrow night, the St. Louis Blues and the Winnipeg Jets at 6 p.m., and then that's followed by the Avs and the Stars at 8:30 p.m. Just 2 games, guys, by the way, right? And
Yeah.
like, there's a very good chance that they kind of will overlap each other. No?
Yeah.
You think?
Were they 6 and 8 o'clock?
I mean, it's 6
No.
and 8:30.
Yeah,
So
should be clear.
Well, if there's overtime, then
If there's an overtime,
Right.
which I hate. I just hate when, like, you got to start flipping.
Yeah. You wanted it a little more spaced?
Kipper,
Yeah.
you got a big mansion. You don't have a 2 TV setup, bro?
I'm just thinking about the guy that has one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. You got 2 TVs, bro.
I need a second.
Yeah,
screen.
I'm starting to get to that part of my life
I
where I want to
gotta
get
make it
in.
happen.
Before we get to the Leafs, I just wanted to ask you. I mentioned it to Borny before we got back. If you're Travis Green, what do you think his number one message to the group? Oh, getting a little choked up talking about it. Group is heading into Game 1. What do you think he's hammering home? His key message?
You're going to have to play these guys really hard. They can embarrass you. And I think that's always been the case over the last few years when you're talking about Marner and Matthews and Nylander. You give these guys time and space, they will eat you up. They are finishers. They are game changers. You give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
And I think you lean into their reputations and say, these guys will quit. You pound them, hammer them, make them not want to play.
Yeah, they don't. You know what? They want to go around you.
Yeah.
They have yet to prove this time of year they can go through you.
Yeah, and you sell that to your team like crazy.
Yeah.
We got a highlight pack ripping here
This
right
is
now.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like we're on TV, this professional show.
So before we get to your Leaf line, Sammy, I mentioned Tampa Bay and Florida don't start till Tuesday.
I know.
Tuesday?
So yeah, I think the league wanted to give Matthew Tkachuk like 3 extra full days off.
No.
Yeah. So he's going to practice with the team this weekend. Yeah. He has not been cleared as of yet, but depending, I guess, what they see out of the next couple of practices.
He could be cleared.
What do you think, Sammy?
You guys made fun of me when I sat here and said he will play game one, obviously. And you were like, oh no, this is different. This is a different one. I'm like, I promise.
I think he went to Germany, by the way. That's not a joke.
He definitely went to Germany.
Healing Hans?
Glorious amulet.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Leafs line, boys?
Leafs line.
The Leafs line is brought to you by Muskoka Bay Resort, a top 10 ranked Canadian course and part of the Freed Golf Network.
Wow.
How nice is it to have a sponsor in the
Leafs
Leafs
line?
line?
What a fitting sponsor for this show.
At the golf thing, there may be some jokes, but we'll go past that.
So what time? When's our tea time up there?
They haven't booked it yet, but it sounds like they're gonna.
All right, let's start.
Here's to hope.
Let's start. This is a longer one, but this is a follow-up call to one we had back in the day. This is from Ben in St. John's. Do we have Ben in St. John's?
Where are you, two boy?
Last time I called, it was immediately after my engagement, and thanks for making that day much more special for me and Megan. But this time, I'm calling to congratulate you. That's right, boys. Congratulations to the Kyper and Bourne show in advance on his longest season yet. That's right, boys. The Leafs hour's going right till the end of June. Why? Because this year is the year. Sportsnet, get out the overtime checks for these guys. Kyper, get out your fancy suits. Borny, get out the beard oils. And Sammy, pick out your nicest ball cap. It's game time. The Stanley Cup is coming back home to Canada's team, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's look at this year's competition, or lack thereof. For a laugh, let's start with the Boston Bruins. Those Bears are still in hibernation, nowhere to be seen. Vancouver, who hates Toronto, well, they've had more drama than a Jerry Springer show. And the Florida Panthers. Come on, Sammy. Give us a bring on the cats, meow sound drop for their 300 fans. And the Tampa Bay Lightning. Listen. No, Coop, I'm not going to listen. The only thing I'll listen to is the door shutting behind you. You're out of here. Until the Olympics, Coop, and then I'm sorry. We love you. The Montreal Canadiens and Ottawa Senators, well, it's about time and welcome to the party. They're probably making a Miracle on Ice film about them finally making it to the playoffs. Boys, I'm putting on my good luck Maple Leafs underwear this year, and I better watch what I eat because I'm not taking them off until they lose. Enjoy the playoff run. Lord Stanley's coming home to Toronto. I'm traveling to Toronto for Game 5, so I'll bring the wedding invitations to you then. And if not, I'll see you at the Stanley Cup parade anyway.
Ooh.
And Sammy, don't forget the invite on the bus.
This is like
there we
the
go,
Boston
Benny.
Pizza ad campaign that planned the parade here. That's a beaut. They're getting jinxy.
Listen,
Ben, who is like, maybe a long lost brother to Sammy.
yes.
He really represents why people across the country hate Leaf fans.
He's a good guy.
Great guy,
Fantastic.
but dumps on everybody, every other team, except the one that that's won one round in 10 tries.
This year's different.
But it's so many Leafs fans are forced to come at their fandom with this like shrinking, like, well, we know. Like it's nice to meet someone with their chest out and wear it a little bit.
There's a lot of talk about hockey gods and like all the curses and all that stuff. It's like, what have they done for me lately?
Yeah,
like,
I've been
when's the win?
paying homage to the gods. They've been giving me
I've been
nothing.
trying to be such a good boy and pray and be like good with the juju, and it's like it's never happened. So,
But it's
tough to
full
try
cinema
to-
mode now.
It's guys like Ben that MLSE sits there in their office and goes,
Ka-ching, ka-ching."
let's add 20% next year to the tickets.
Let's go to Rico and Barry.
All right, guys. Stolar's Conn Smythe plus 9,500. You heard it here first. When the Leafs win the Cup, he'll be the biggest reason. Also glad you got the jersey back, Sam. I legit felt nervous for you. Go Leafs, go. Bud's over sends in 5.
Hey, did you?
Stolar's Conn Smythe.
We're just going all in. Did you hear the song someone made about the jersey?
Oh, no.
No.
It's in our group chat.
Yeah, we'll listen to it later. Kipper is going to kill me for this.
It's very good, the song.
Really?
Yes.
Someone made a song of Sammy losing the jersey.
Sammy wears the jersey. Yes.
Yeah.
Can we get it on before the show ends?
No, I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it's
Well, are you worried
is
about that?
Is
It's
it
like-
copyrated?
I don't know if it's AI. I don't know where it came
So
from.
what if it
I
is? It's
haven't been able
wonderful.
to.
Is there cursing in it?
I don't want to play. No, but I don't want to play it. I don't want to play it. I'm moved past the jersey thing. Okay. I'm a new man. I don't want to play this
Sammy,
song.
listen
and
to me
have it-
very
Brandeau's on it.
carefully.
Brandeau's
We
on it.
don't care
Oh,
how you
man.
feel
Also do
right
not
now.
care.
We're playing it.
It's a little. Okay. All right. Let's go to.
Is it all about you? Are we in the song?
Not really.
Okay.
It's Sammy themed.
Then I
Yeah.
really want to play it now.
Okay. Let's go to. Let's go to John Doe in Ottawa. In Ottawa, not from parts unknown. In Ottawa.
Boys, huge fan of the show. Listen to most episodes, most days. I was going to say I'm here in Ottawa. My roommate's a diehard Sens fan. I got all Sens fans around me. They're nervous. I got my tickets for Game 4. They couldn't keep us out. We're coming. They're nervous. They're excited because they know we have more to lose. But I'm telling you, there's a buzz in the city. It's great to see just as like a hockey fan. But as a Leafs fan, I got my jersey on today. I'm fired up. I think the Leafs are going to take it home. Let's go.
Love that. So
Well, that is a true representation of, like, especially for Leaf fans. We've done the Boston thing. We've done the Tampa Bay thing. We haven't done the Ottawa thing in a very long time. It is that alone is a fresh coat of paint.
it is. It's nice. Nice to have a whole new group of opponents.
Have you heard anything about Ottawa on the tickets or like any
No, but
in your
the
Leaf
Leaf fans, you know, they're
You gotta think.
going to find a way to get in there.
So
It's not going to be it's not going to look or sound any different than it has in any playoff game or regular
trying.
season game.
they're
It's
trying.
gotta
Sens
be
fans
different,
are trying.
boys.
They're limiting. So season ticket holders can buy their tickets. They can buy 2 or 4 more, but they can't transfer them freely. Has to be like with them, so family or friends or something.
Okay.
There's a grassroots fan coordination trying to say don't sell your tickets. It's been so long.
Cringe. That's so bad.
They're trying to keep Leaf fans out.
Good luck.
We're like Leaf Nation's like cockroaches, man. They'll find a way behind the refrigerator.
I'd love to see some people walking in Sens jerseys, unveil the Leafs jersey once they get in.
Back up. Let's go to.
You can't kill them. Nuclear war won't take them
They
down.
just keep coming back.
Let's go to John from Michigan.
Good afternoon, fellas. This is John from East Tawas, Michigan. Been talking to my boy Ridley Gregg. He wants to know how much it costs to live in Sammy's head there rent-free.
Well, John, you kind of contradicted yourself when you said how much it costs to be rent-free. I mean, it's like, sorry to make fun of you, bro, but bit of a brain buster on that one, pal. Sorry.
Fair. But I have had people message me about how Sammy's going to be on tilt about Greg and Pinto and Cousins and Perron and Kachuk and all these guys that are
Good players.
and they want to take it to
Heavy, big, heavy players.
you. Run their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
The Leafs by weight are significantly heavier as a team than Ottawa.
No, I
Yeah,
did
they
not.
Yeah, I can get you that data if you're interested.
That's the blue line for sure.
They're 204.7 on average. Ottawa is 198.4 on average.
Can you break it down from defense to forwards?
No,
I thought you were a stat guy and an analytic
I
guy.
can give you height.
we got a couple more calls here. I don't remember. I cut these this morning. I don't remember any of them. Let's go to Frizbob in Toronto.
Frizbob.
Frizbob.
Yeah, Frisbob.
Big fan of the show. My question is, how much do you think the playoff past is going to play a factor into this series for both the Senators and the Leafs? Obviously, the Leafs having, playoff failures in recent memory, and the Sens knowing that the Leafs have their number in every playoff series of the last 25 years. Wondering what your thoughts are. Big fans. Go Leafs, go.
Thanks, Frizbob. I don't think that plays any fact at all. Like,
No.
they're not going to be like, oh, they beat us when in
No,
2000.
but is he also asking about the mindset of going in after all these failures too? And can the Leafs calm themselves down in areas where they probably had the high heart rates in years past?
Yeah. For sure.
Craig Berube, to me, at times I would have liked to see a few decibels added to his the sound of him, but he never went there.
Consistent all year.
Consistent all year, and I think that could play a key role in keeping them calm when maybe things are getting a little hairy.
Yeah, I think so too.
So Yeah, I think all that scar tissue in the past will come into play a little bit for them.
Failures or not, the more times you put yourself in those spots, the more you know what to expect, and you can plan to handle those emotions.
I'm a big believer of experience, right? And going through it constantly, and what lessons you've learned from it.
Yeah.
Let's sneak
including building the roster, rebuilding the roster.
Let's sneak one more in. Let's go to Terrace in Hamilton.
Here's my theory of how we're going all the way this year and breaking every curse they could ever throw at us.
Let's go.
Round 1, Battle of Ontario. Pretty obvious how this is going to go. 5-6 games tops.
Yes.
Round 2, a little bit of an interesting round. Really hoping it's not the Panthers. That's going to throw a bit of a wrench in the whole thing, but I'm predicting probably Tampa. They're kind of feeling themselves. We got their number. So that brings us to the Eastern Conference Final. Well, who do we need to beat there really end this goddamn curse? Why, it's our old friends, the Montreal Canadiens. That's right. They've upset the Metro, and they've come all the way to the Eastern Conference Final. And, of course, we slay that dragon. But here we are, Stanley Cup Final. Who's left at this point to even slay? The other original 6 teams are all gone at this point. They were the only ones there last time we won. Well, who messed up our chance to really win the Cup last? That's right. 1993, the Los Angeles Kings tried to take us down, but we're back, and we're going to beat them in the Stanley Cup Final. And every single curse you could ever imagine is over. And that's it.
That's it.
A new dynasty. Thanks, boys. Love listening to you. Listen all the time. It's the only thing that helps me survive the QEW.
Thank you to Nostradamus from France with the prediction.
I'm telling you, boys, vibes are too high.
The vibes are too high.
Well,
Vibes are
Sammy,
too
you
high.
picked every single one, and they were all like a 10 out of 10 on vibes.
There is no bad vibes. I tried to find bad vibes. There's no bad vibes.
There's no way.
All the calls are just like that. We could have done 5
You know
more
what
just
the
like
most
that.
incredible thing about this is? When they lost last year.
Oh, it's
they
over.
were-
I would
they-
never.
When they were eliminated, to get back to this, what an accomplishment. I mean,
Truly.
they're Sisyphus with this rock right near the top now. I'm sure nothing will stop it from
Keep
coming back
that
down.
thought if they lose in the first round.
That it's possible to get back to.
No, there was still a great turnaround.
I mean, it's just incredible they got back here.
Like
Oh.
to get all the hope and all the love back, it seemed impossible. It seemed like this.
Can
and
we get?
here we are.
Can we get 30 seconds of the song? Do we have it?
No, not yet. Not yet. Come on.
No, we got time.
No, we don't have time.
Derek, did you find it?
We don't have time. We actually don't have time. We gotta go. Anyways,
Yeah, play it.
No, we
play
gotta-
any part of it.
We gotta go. I gotta
Play
do
any part of
my
it.
God, I'm actually sour. See, we can't play it. Oh my God. All right. Can we cut that? Thank you. All right.
a tune.
And
It's good.
the Leafs
Really
line. Hold on.
good.
The Leafs line.
If we found
Come on,
who-
we got a brand new sponsor. You guys are jumping
Okay,
all
go.
over me.
Read golf, read golf.
Holy. The Leafs line was brought to you by Muskoka Bay Resort, a top 10 ranked Canadian course, part of the Freed Golf
Yes.
Network.
What a
boys.
golf course it is,
If
too.
we
you've
could
been there.
find someone who had the jersey, we can find out who wrote that song.
It's the guy named, I know the guy DM me, but I just don't know who wrote it and if it's AI or whatever.
Can we,
Jam City.
for Monday, let's open up the show with that song.
I think so, too.
No.
Okay.
There's
All right.
bigger fish to fry on Monday. Who cares about the jersey?
You can't
the jersey's
keep us contained,
over.
McKee.
It's been found. The
We'll
story's
tell
done.
you what's happening.
It's hanging
Thank
over
you
there.
very much.
Oh my God.
Sammy. All right, more Sammy. When we return, we go national on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Don't go away. All right, let's kick it up in the National Hour. Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We are live on 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary, right across your Sportsnet platforms, wherever you download your podcast. We are here. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne is brought to you by Bet365, and we'll even take a few of your texts
Yes,
if you text us at 590-590.
Yes.
please do.
So, no big secret. Sammy lost a jersey.
Oh,
He's so
We
sick of
got
this.
it back, He lost it on
great.
the
Story
Dundas line.
Great. No,
on
wrong
the
bus.
TTC.
Wrong bus. Dufferin bus.
Dufferin bus.
Yeah.
It was
Get it
returned
right.
to us. Many of your well wishes out there reached us, but one in particular really reached us because someone put a song.
What's the name? Brian Moore?
Brian Moore sent it to me on
Brian
Twitter.
Moore put a song together about Sammy losing
Little
the
punk.
jersey. Can we start this right from the beginning, please?
No. Oh, God.
Let's have a
Derek,
listen.
please don't play it. It was a bus.
The next day, Sammy landed in Hawaii and put his phone away. But he tossed and turned as his conscience caused him pain.
True.
Dreading his return, knowing what they say. Where's the jersey, Sammy? Don't abuse your mood. Where's the jersey, Sammy? For the next one.
I almost flipped the bird. I'm not allowed to see that on TV.
Where's the jersey, Sammy? How come you didn't tell?
All right.
Where's the jersey, Sammy?
And I forgot to change the.
It's a jam.
Go get the jersey.
It's a jam.
Go
man.
get the jersey.
It's a jam.
You guys talk.
Thank you for that, for passing that along.
That was great.
It's incredible talent that people can just whip that up.
I think it was AI.
Maybe.
Whatever it is, somebody's got a lot of time on their hands,
One thing we know for sure.
right?
We know for sure.
If it's one thing we know about our listeners and our followers, they haven't got anything better to do.
Well, they're about to have a hole. Just the grump put it up there.
jersey, Timmy. Shut up. God.
Now,
You
now,
found
now.
the jersey.
You think you'd be happier on the eve of Leafs
has been
playoffs?
found. It's up. There's the jersey, buddy.
You know, one of the most unrattleable people that I know, Sammy.
Oh.
So it makes me really happy to
I'm
see him
rattled.
slightly
I'm
on
rattled.
tilt.
I'm rattled. I'm rattled. We got to have a
You
professional guest.
you
join us
can't
on
get
that.
him like this on a golf course. You
Never.
can't do it.
All right, here we go, boys.
Too many texts about how great that song is.
A show before the Stanley Cup playoffs begin tomorrow night. Sportsnet has both games. 6 p.m. Eastern, St. Louis Blues and the Winnipeg Jets, followed by Colorado and Dallas.
Woo.
Just 2 games on a Saturday night.
Yeah, I don't think the league itself would have drawn it up this way if they could have avoided it. But so many teams played on the final day of the season. You know, one of the things could have been that LA had the fires. They had to postpone a game, play on the last day of the year. Maybe that would have made Edmonton, LA a Saturday night game, which I'm sure we would love to have had. So maybe
juggling.
Little juggling
Yeah,
going
we don't
on.
know all the ins and out, building availability, all of that.
4 games on Sunday, and then Florida, Tampa Bay plays in 2027. I think they're
Tuesday.
on Tuesday.
Or Tuesday.
The first Saturday night of the Stanley Cup playoffs, there is not a 7 p.m. puck drop hockey game.
Yeah.
That is, when has that ever happened?
Yeah.
It's unusual, but there's hockey at 7.
For sure. It's great. But
It's
like,
going to be watching the Winnipeg Jets do the damn thing.
for sure. But I feel like the first night, it's overload.
Yeah.
There's a game on every channel. You're flicking. It's like, oh my God. It's just having it be one standalone game. Feels like we're in the conference finals already.
Yeah. What's
Weird.
the Sunday first puck drop?
6 p.m.
6
Oh,
p.m.
no. It's 3 p.m. There's Carolina and the Devils play at 3 p.m. Then it goes into Toronto
Everyone's
at
going to
7.
get back from Easter brunch and fire it up.
Yep, definitely.
We're going to welcome in Garry Galley in a few minutes. But before we go to him, if I would have told you maybe 6 or 8 weeks ago, even if St. Louis was looking on the outside in, if there's a chance that St. Louis could get hot and maybe sneak in and Winnipeg would get them, would you go, yeah, perfect. Where are you on St. Louis now playing Winnipeg after they've won like a gazillion games in a row?
My biggest Winnipeg concern is they are a team, top to bottom, solid all the way throughout. But when you take away Ehlers and Velarde, who I don't know if Velarde's available or not, I worry about their ability to put the puck in the net.
They'll be fine.
They'll be fine?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's ask our next guest, Garry Galley, former NHLer, color analyst, will be a very busy man on Hockey Night in Canada, as he always has been in the past, and does a terrific job. Garry, how are you? How excited are you? And, we want to stay on the Winnipeg Jets right now against St. Louis, so we'll get your thoughts as well.
I'm great. I mean, this time of year, as you guys know, is the greatest time of year ever. I mean, spring has sprung and the playoffs are getting started, and we all know what that's all about and how exciting that can get. And I think even though people have thoughts in their head of who they think are going to win series and who they think are going to be really important for a team in a series, you really don't know till this thing gets going. You really don't. And Winnipeg St. Louis is one of those series where I think you look at a team like St. Louis that has been on such a roll. You look back to the time when they got in and won the Stanley Cup and all of those things they're going to draw from history in order to move into the playoffs against what most people would think would be a very tough President's Trophy winning Winnipeg Jets. But, one goalie went into the Four Nations Cup and came out like Hercules in Jordan Binnington. And, for Connor Hellebuck, he was hoping to bring the U.S. to win that tournament. It didn't happen. He's had an incredible season. We've talked about him, certainly the Vezina, but I mean, really seriously in the Hart conversation. It is just one of those things where, unfortunately, you hate to be disrespectful to a guy that has played so well, but the playoffs have not been a shining moment for him in the last few years where they've exited in the first round. Not all his fault for sure, but he hasn't looked himself and he hasn't played to the level that he played during the regular season. And he's going to have to do that right from the drop of the puck in the first series and be that Connor Hellebuck that he can be. And if he is, Winnipeg will be a very, very tough out. Now, injuries, who's healthy, who's ready to go. Their defense is a defense that has gotten beaten up the last few years. Morrissey's gotten beaten up. You know what the playoffs are like. You got a red circle on the board. That's the guy. Never pass up on a hit. Chase him down. Finish everything with veracity on this person. Make his shifts hard. Like, it wears down people. And so it's going to be interesting to see. But I am picking Winnipeg in this series. I like them. I think they've just really proven down the stretch. They've taken Dallas down. They've beaten good teams even at the end when you think they're going to let up. I think there's a burr up there in their saddle, and I think they realize that they don't want to be on the other end of this thing again.
So, Gals, I believe you're paying extra special attention to Montreal, Washington. Is that you're doing that series?
Yeah, I thought, what the heck, huh? Is wait to the last day of the season to get my assignment.
Yeah.
But I followed Montreal a lot this year.
Yeah.
I've had a chance to watch this team drag along the bottom and scraping the bottom, and then I've seen them rise to the top. I've seen them play with consistency. I've seen them play where they've had trouble finding their game. I think, there was an interview the other night that Mac did with Suzuki right before the game. And his calmness struck me really, because he's a calm guy to start with. It really struck me that how calm he was. Mm-hmm. And he said that we were a team that used to shoot ourselves in the foot. This is what we did. And we did it way too much. And we've learned not to do that. So I think Marty St. Louis has convinced this team, obviously, that there is a right way to play this game. And yes, you can have some individual skill sets within the game, but the team game has to be, the identity of the team has to be there. And they've built that. And now they're reaping the benefits of it. And they're going to be a fun team to watch in the first round. I mean, go back to 2010. And yes, they got in on the last day. They didn't win to get in that time. The Rangers lost, which got them in. And they took down the Washington Capitals in 7, the first seed versus the 8th seed. 15 years ago. So I don't put a lot into that, but certainly, it proves that it can be done. Other teams have done it. And why not Montreal? This season, has been special. Maybe it will continue. Washington, I worry about the energy that was spent on Ovechkin. Mm-hmm. And it was wonderful for him and the team and the league and everything. But now you're coming off this one emotional thing that was so important to everybody. And now you're trying to find your lane again and get ready for the playoffs. Certainly most people will be picking the Caps to win this series, and they should. But I'm really interested to see how they're going to play in Game 1. I think Game 1 is going to tell a lot for the Washington Capitals.
You're watching and listening to Garry Galley, former NHLer, color analyst, as we get set to start the Stanley Cup playoffs right here on Sportsnet this weekend. So, gals, if we talk about, expectations and soaring ones, to say the least, we do go to Winnipeg and Toronto. But for Montreal Canadian teams facing a Washington Capital team, which at the beginning of the year, we weren't even sure if they were a playoff team. How much pressure is on Washington now compared to other teams that have built over years of disappointment in the playoffs?
I think if you're being honest, I think Washington got the team they wanted. I don't think they wanted anything to do with Columbus. I think that they feel that, I believe, and this is just, no one's told me that. I'm just saying, I just put myself in their shoes. Columbus kind of took them down 2 or 3 times during the season. I think they just feel like Montreal was the team that I think they would say, hey, if we get Montreal, that would be great. They've had a better record against Montreal. Their specialty teams have been outstanding against Montreal. And that's one thing Montreal is going to have to really take care of. I just feel like that's a better match for them. Everybody, like in 4 series, and Nick, you would know this better than I would, but there always seems to be one series that goes easily in the 4. You don't know when it's going to be. It could be in the first one. It could be in the 4th one, any one of those, but one goes relatively simple. On my way to the Stanley Cup Finals in 90, it was the semifinals against Washington. We swept them in 4. We were not expecting that. It just happened. So there's always going to be a series you think is going to be easy, and it's a bear of a series. And then there's a series you think is going to be tough, and you tend to get through it. So the Stanley Cup is a strange island. You never really know when you get to the dance, when the series is going to dig in and go 7 and when it's going to end quickly. And I think this is a good series for Washington. The travel is fairly easy for them, and it's a team that they've had success against. So why wouldn't they be confident? Why wouldn't they come into this ready to go? I like their team. I like how they play. I like the way they're coached. They've got to be feeling really good about their year. I think they're going to be a tough team to beat. And Montreal, I get what you're saying, Nick. Expectations are probably not through the moon, but I think 4 or 5 games ago, there was not a lot of expectation, maybe 6 games ago, that Montreal may make the playoffs. They may not. But when they got up, a good number of points and they needed only 2 points to get in, expectations went to 100%. They're going to get in. Mm-hmm. And then they started to stumble. When expectations creep up, that's when anxiety and all those things get into your brain. So, it was nice to see them win that last game, push themselves in, feel good about yourself going in. I think it's going to be a 6 to 7 game series. I do believe that. But I think Washington is a team that I think at the time when they need to, will put the hammer down.
Gals, as we always do when we have you on, it's fun to go around Canada a little bit, and there's one series that has 2 Canadian teams. The Toronto Maple Leafs are playing the Ottawa Senators. One team has ghosts everywhere. The other team, excited about being back in the postseason. Are you one of the people who is picking Ottawa with their energy, their youth, and Brady Tkachuk and all that to upset the Toronto Maple Leafs?
I played on a team where every time we went into the Forum, there were ghosts everywhere. Yeah. So, I know what ghosts look like, and so, yeah, I get it. Toronto is a different team. Like over the last few years following them, they, and under Sheldon Keefe, I think they were a different team. Under Craig Berube, their identity has shifted. It's changed. They've morphed into a team that will want you to believe that a bad loss is not going to bother them. They're just going to shake it off and they're going to go right back at it. They've shown that at times this year where, they've said, hey, it's not a big deal. And they moved along and they've got back on track. They've won the division. There's a lot of things I feel like this team is starting to feel a comfort around. And to win the Stanley Cup, you have to find comfort in the pig pen. When things are going bad, when things are ugly, when things don't look like they're, whatever, you got to find calmness and you have to trust that you are going to come out of this if you play the right way. Toronto seems to be getting more like that. So this is a really good test for them in the first round. I think this is a great test for them in the first round to play a team that, that they know there's going to be some energy driven by the Battle of Ontario, playoff series past. All these things are going to get drudged in here. But at the end of the day, they're playing a young team that has not been here in a long, long time that has to handle that. and they're playing a young team that's going to be, full piss and vinegar, ready to go, ready to hammer on everything. And they have to get through the energy of Ottawa and let the game settle and then start to take control of the game. If they're capable of doing that, I like Toronto. But if they get caught up in the energy and excitement of Ottawa and they get off of their game, which Ottawa can do, they can do that. They have done that to a lot of teams. They can disrupt your identity and make you play out of your comfort zone. And they're more than capable of beating Toronto. This should be a very good series. And I look at this series as kind of a pick 'em, guys. I don't really know. I'd like to be able to say it, but I don't really know. There's so many things here that would tip you one way or another. But I think if Toronto, that's the thing, if they can hold on to their identity and even through some rough patches, I like them. But if they can't, I can see Ottawa creeping in there and taking that.
No question. I think in the big picture, Toronto's the favorite. So I want to expand on what you just said, Gals, and just tell me how Ottawa can disrupt them specifically here. Is it the physicality? Is it specialty teams? Is it Allmark? Give me a couple of reasons how Ottawa can beat the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Ottawa does an incredibly good job of taking away your time and space. They puck pursue. They get on you quickly. And when Ottawa is on their game, they control the neutral zone. They control the rush speed. So if they're exiting and they're coming with you at speed, they can control that neutral zone. And to me, a lot of times a team that has a chance, the best chance to win a game is a team that controls the pace of the neutral zone. Do they come up? Do they clean out of their end? Do they get into your end with speed? Do they back you off? These are the things, the reads and things like that when Ottawa's on their game, Toronto will have less time to read and react. And you look at when they play teams that do that to them, sometimes they can have some issues and sometimes they can get put back on their heels. So if they allow Ottawa to get that kind of puck pursuit and get on them, and they can't be clean coming out of their end, get those rush chances, back off Ottawa a little bit, then I think they could get themselves in a bit of trouble. Goaltending, Allmark certainly has been a real story for Ottawa. I think Stolarz is a good match for that. I think the goaltending could be something where we could see some really good goaltending in this series, similar to the ones where we used to see Lundqvist and Holtby. Like, a 7-game series and then you'd seen the best goaltending in so long. I think this is a series where we could see some really good goaltending at both sides. More often than not, it comes down to execution. And when Toronto gets in trouble, I think they play a team that gets on them quickly, harasses them when they need a little time and space to make plays, and then turnovers and scrambly plays start happening. And I think that's where it can get a bit ugly. So, and that's where I see Ottawa the most successful is when they have that incredible puck pursuit and speed and they get on you.
As we were heading into the season, looking at all these Canadian teams and looking at betting odds, the team that was supposed to be, actually, I think the Cup favorite at once, Edmonton, where I think they were the actual favorite preseason going into the year. At this point, they're not that. How concerned are you with their injuries that they're not going to be able to be the best version of themselves in the postseason?
Well, everyone's going to play hurt in the playoffs if you can play, right?
Yep.
That's the thing that hockey players do. Unless you literally can't do up your skates, and Matthew Tkachuk a couple of years ago couldn't even do his skates up, and he went out and played. I think his brother did his skates up for him, Brady, and then he went out and played with injuries that you should not be playing with. So this is a hockey player. So hockey players, so a coach has to put the best version of his team out there and the guys who are banged up. And there are going to be a lot of guys going into these playoffs with some nicks and bruises and bangs and some injuries that are a little more serious than others. So when you look at a team like Edmonton that has a number of injuries, a lot of things happen. Like as guys start, if the team can hold on and play good hockey and keep the series tight, as guys start to come back, then, there's energy brought into the lineup. So, look to LA to want to jump on this quickly, and they play incredible at home. And if Edmonton doesn't have the bolstering a full lineup with guys that are capable of making LA defend, if you just let them come at you and play that heavy game and just clog up the neutral zone, and you don't have any creativity to make LA get into their zone and defend and get to their net, then it's going to be a fairly easy series for LA. And they've proven that they can do it, especially at home where they're just really, really good. So, you got to get to the game and see what Edmonton has in the pot and what guys can get out there and play. And it's not going to be hard to see. We all saw Draisaitl last year on those one-timers when he could get nothing on them. When guys aren't 100%.
Right.
When guys aren't playing, but you give them full credit for stepping in and being there and trying to do whatever they can to help their team win. So it's tough for a team when they go into the playoffs already beat up, because you guys know the beating you're going to take to win Series 1, and then you take your wounded, patch them all up, and then go into Series 2, and you're going to get beat up again. And you do that two more times after that. So it seems like a real tall hill to climb when you're coming into the playoffs with a lot of guys who are banged up.
Gals, you've spent almost 1,200 games defending in the National Hockey League, and you know what a good core does for this time of year in Edmonton. Ekholm goes down here. We were already kind of questioning if Edmonton had the depth that they needed on the back end yet again this year. What does this mean to McDavid and Draisaitl? Can they make up for it at all here? Can anybody make up for Ekholm not starting this series?
I'm not sure you could replace a guy like that, especially like looking at it from a forward standpoint. Like, oh yeah, if we keep the puck on our stick for 45 minutes of the game, we don't have to defend, then we won't need him. But, the thing about the playoffs is you're playing good teams. These teams that you're playing are very good teams. And there are going to be times in the game where they're going to, you're going to bend. You're going to have to bend, and they're going to be outplaying you, and they're going to spend time in your zone. And that's always the critical part of time when you look at a team like Edmonton, and is that if they spend some time in their zone, are they good enough? Do they have a core of defensemen there that are good enough to defend for periods of time when you're bending, but you don't break? And that comes down to goaltending. So your goaltending, when you have some guys who aren't in there, you need your goaltender to make saves that he's supposed to make, and you need him to make some saves he's not supposed to make. And he has to keep your team in the game and give you a chance to win. And that's something that, again, we're going to have to see what players are asked to increase their minutes and how they handle those increased minutes. Mm-hmm. It's okay to say, we're going to give this guy an extra 6 minutes a game. We're going to give this guy an extra 4 minutes a game. He can go out and play those minutes, but does he play them at a level that helps your team be successful? And that's the thing we're going to have to see with Ekholm. Those are some really important minutes and leadership that you're taking out of that back end. So, yeah, having the puck a lot would help for sure. But, LA is a team that turns over pucks. They transition well. They're a very good defensive team. So it's going to be more of a chess match, which favors LA because, Edmonton's not a chess match kind of team. They're like the checkers where you're jumping, leaping over people all over the play. They want to get going, right? LA in that 1-3-1 just wants to make it a parking lot and just grind you out.
Yeah, and they're awfully good at it too. When I was filling out my bracket this week and trying to figure out who's going the farthest, the team I had the most trouble with was the team we talked about, Edmonton, because I wasn't sure about their health, and then Florida, also kind of health related, right? Tkachuk may come back, may not. Did you have an update on that, Kip? Is Tkachuk going to play?
He's practicing this weekend. They've not cleared him as of yet.
Okay.
I think it'll come down to Tuesday.
All right. Like Ekblad's going to be coming back. What do we make of the defending Stanley Cup champions and their chances at a repeat?
I think that first series is going to be something special.
Yes.
I really do. They hate each other. Close proximity. Stanley Cup champion. Tampa Bay has a few cups of their own. They know how to play in these situations. I like the moves Tampa Bay made, with their team at the deadline, bringing some guys in. Getzel's having a great year. He's made up for a lot of the goals that Stammer was there for. So this team has kind of moved along. Vasilevsky looks like he's finding himself again. Tampa Bay is one of those teams that people called a sleeper coming into the back end of the season. Oh, watch Tampa Bay. Watch that. How do you take your eyes off a team that's been around the Stanley Cup as much as they have and have the players that they have on that team? How could you possibly think they're a sleeper? And if I'll tell you one thing. Paul Maurice doesn't think they're a sleeper. He knows what they are capable of. Now you got his team. You got to bring Ekblad back into the mix. He's been out for a long time, been away from the team. He's got to come in and reacclimate. And you got to beat up Tkachuk. Now here's the deal. How many games do you tell him if he's not really ready? How many games do you hold him back where you feel like you can? Because this isn't the Stanley Cup Finals when he was beat up the last time and you have to play because there's no look tomorrow. If they win game 1, okay, maybe we don't need them till game 3. So they're going to deal with Matthew Tkachuk based on how the series is going if he's not ready to start. I mean, he may start in game 1 and that might be it. But if he's not, how the series goes will dictate when he comes in and when he doesn't. But I know they're putting a lot of, obviously a lot into a guy like Marchand who comes into there with cup pedigree, knows how to play in those games, in those tight games, and against physicality and stuff like that. So they're hoping he's going to be a big part of it. So there's a lot of question marks really around a Stanley Cup champion team that, fell to third when they could have taken over and won the division. They didn't do it. So there's a little bouncing around. Paul Maurice said it doesn't really matter if you win the division, and he's right.
Yeah.
You got to win 4 series. Like I mentioned, there's going to be some easy, some hard. It doesn't matter. You got to win 4 hard series, and we're going to see the Panthers have to do it. We're going to see Dallas or Colorado have to do it. We're going to see, there's a lot of series where when someone goes home, it's going to be a bad bruise. It's going to hurt.
Gals, one more for me, and we'll bring it full circle back to the Montreal Canadiens here and the temptation by Marty St. Louis to lean on Demidov in this first round. I think he played maybe 10 and a half, 11 minutes on your game Wednesday.
Yep.
But, if you need a goal, is it have you seen enough in this very short sample size that he can be a difference maker at all?
I you know what? I think this whole thing has been incredibly insane and crazy, but in a good way. It's like
Beatles stuff.
They bring this guy in. Remember Kovalev, the way the fans in Montreal used to love him?
Sure.
The artiste, and he was they just drooled every time he touched the puck. They were on the edge of their seat, and he was going to do something special. This is Demidov. He touches the puck, and you feel the temperature and the excitement in the building just start rising every time he touches it. And I got to be honest with you, every time he touches it, he does something, really good with it. He either has that stop and go kind of shifty gear that he has that makes him tough to defend. He's got a great set of hands. He's got great vision, and I know there are some people saying that he struggles defensively. They saw that play in game 1 where he didn't back check, but I've watched him now for a couple of games, and he does have a defensive conscience to him. Now, how deep that is, we're going to find out. But I mean, you see it in a small sample size that he's coming up the wall. He doesn't have a play. He dumps it back behind. He's not trying to force every single play. But when I looked at Lane Hudson at the start of the year, where there was a seam in the ice that I didn't think he would have the fortitude to try to seam it through there, he would.
Yeah.
And it's he finds holes that don't look like they exist. And Demidov, when he moves the puck, when he does things, there are times when I go, he's not going to, and then he does it and he gets it to where it's going. So he's a talent, and he's someone that Washington is going to have to circle on the board, defend against, and say, look, this guy can create and do damage on his own. So don't be fooled by this 19-year-old kid coming over, getting his first look at this. Hey, Suzuki's got 32 playoff games in him. Who would have thought that? Caulfield's got 20. These are not guys getting their first taste of the Stanley Cup. They have been there. So don't be fooled by this is a team that's, they've got games. And when you have games, and for Montreal Canadiens management, this is fantastic. And for teams like Ottawa, you're going to play important games down March and April, and now you're going to play playoff games. And I don't care what anyone tells you, until you've played in them, you really have no idea what they're all about. And getting your young guys developing and getting them in playoff games, win or lose this series, they have taken an incredibly large step. As Ottawa, these guys are going to start to feel the playoffs now. They're going to know.
Gals, great job. Really enjoy your series. We're going to lean on you through these Stanley Cup playoffs. Have a great call starting. this
I'm counting on it, guys. Enjoy.
this week.
Thanks, Gals.
Okay,
Appreciate
pal.
it.
Garry Galley, who was kind enough to step in. Doug McLean is in transit.
Yep.
He came up to take in the celebration of life of our good friend Greg Millen. Shout out to Gary Green, Coley Campbell, John Shannon, and our Chris Cuthbert, who all spoke in Peterborough, who did an amazing job. And the kids, Allie, Emily, Carolyn, and Charlie, who also spoke. And all I can say is I hope when our time comes, we get a send-off like that.
Yeah.
Because it was circled around just three things for Greg Millen yesterday. It was family, friends, and hockey. And it was touching for sure.
Glad to hear it. I'm glad you went. That's great.
Okay, Sammy.
And yeah, Doug McLean scheduled his flight at 5 o'clock, so he didn't have to come on probably.
Yeah, he's not the brightest
Well,
guy.
or he is.
Yeah. He's like, I don't
Very bright.
Or he's super bright.
All right.
You don't know. Jill booked it.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yes.
His wife booked it.
It's game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. So, what do you guys want to know about the playoffs here? Is there anything in particular that you have in
I
mind?
want to bet like a points over under for like Marner and Matthews in the series somehow.
Okay. Now that's hard to look up.
I don't know. Yeah, that was not the answer you wanted.
I'm going to tell you, if you wanted to go through all the series and do final, so that you could do the series exact score. So, for example, if you wanted, how do you think? I mean, we're going to do our picks after the break.
Yeah.
But for example, if you think the Dallas Stars are going to beat the Colorado Avalanche in 7 games, that's plus 500. So if you think Colorado's going to beat them in 7 games, it's plus 450.
Right.
So you can go through all the different series, and if you think you know what the series is going to go, for example, if you wanted to bet the Toronto Maple Leafs to sweep the Ottawa Senators, plus 650. If you wanted to bet to beat them in 7 games, it's plus 375. So an interesting way to bet it there. Yeah. So, and I'm just looking ahead to tomorrow night, where the 2 games actually get underway.
Yep.
And as you would imagine, the Winnipeg Jets open as heavy favorites. Minus 190 in that game. And that's a pretty big spread for a playoff game.
So the Blues would be the best
Value.
upset payoff.
For sure.
Is that what you're telling us?
They're plus 160 in the game tomorrow, and I could look up what they would be in the series, but I would imagine they would be a little bit higher than that for the series. But minus 190 for the Jets tomorrow. The Dallas Stars are plus 115 underdogs opening up on home ice. Colorado minus 135. And looking ahead to Sunday night, the Toronto Maple Leafs open their series against the Ottawa Senators, minus 160 favorites in the first game against the Ottawa Senators, who are plus 135 on the money line.
Yeah.
It's decent value.
Decent value on the Sens there, pal.
And yeah, looking way ahead, the Monday night, there's a line for Washington and Montreal, which our friend Garry Galley will be calling. Washington, as you would imagine, on home ice opens as big favorites, minus 190 against the
Tons of ways to bet these series on Bet365.
against Montreal, who's plus 160, but there's a million different ways to go through it. So go to Bet365 for all your playoff needs. Anyways, that was Game Time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Okay, let's catch our breath. And when we return, we get down to the nitty gritty.
Picks?
First round predictions, Cup finalist, Cup winner, Conn Smythe. All when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. As a reminder, this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne is brought to you by Bet365. Let's bring it home here, boys.
Okay. What we got, Kip?
What do we got? Pick a series and let's get at her.
All right, I'll start. We'll just go through the bracket. Sammy, do you want to pull it up on? Or I can do it. All right, Winnipeg Jets, St. Louis Blues. Do you want to do team and number or just team?
No, team and number.
Team and number. All right, I got Winnipeg in 6.
Don't do it. Jets talk.
No. I'm not going St. Louis.
Okay.
No. Leafs and the Winnipeg Jets are in the same boat here. There's no option. There's no option to lose. So 6 if we see that stretch of St. Louis. It could go 7, but Winnipeg wins this thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sammy?
Give me Jets in 5.
Ooh, I think that's too confident. By a game, apparently.
I think.
I don't think Binnington's going to lose 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
No.
Well, they had that insanely hot stretch. What was it, 13 in a row?
Mm-hmm.
They came back down to earth a little bit. The Jets have the history of the sort of Leafs middle of the country stuff. Because I never say West for Winnipeg because it's middle.
It's not West. To me.
So
I grew up in the West, though.
I think it's an easy one. They're much like Ottawa. It's an easy one to be like, but I think the Jets are unbelievable. I know they're missing Ehlers. I know, but
those are big injuries.
I know, Kippy, but they have been so good all year long. And I just think they're going to really surprise everybody and spank the Blues. So give me the Jets in 5.
All right, Dallas, Colorado. Sammy, you follow up. Go again.
Colorado in 7 games. I think it'll be a close series. I think they're better, but I think they're division rivals. They're prideful. I think it'll be a close series, but I think Colorado comes out on top.
I am so disappointed in Dallas's finish.
Yeah.
And to hear Robertson get hurt as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have picked Dallas, but I can't pick Dallas any longer.
You picked Dallas preseason for Cup, right?
No.
Oh.
No, I did not.
Florida?
Well, let's just wait.
Wait for what?
You're a producer.
Oh.
We're going through the series, and then we're going to go to finalists, Cup winner.
Preseason, I thought you picked them. I thought like the start of the year you had. Anyway. So you're Colorado.
I'm going Colorado in 6.
We're the same so far, Colorado in 6. Dallas's goaltending, they lost 7 straight games, and their goaltending's been putrid down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas, Minnesota. My boy Gaz has Minnesota with an upset here.
Really?
I just think the Vegas D are too ferocious and mean.
Big.
Championship pedigree.
Yeah, give me Vegas, but I am going to say Minnesota gets a couple, so I'll say 6 again.
I'm going Vegas in 5.
I'll go Vegas in 5 too.
2
Like
VGK
Mark
in 5.
Stone.
They're too good.
They're too good.
Too good.
Okay.
Jack
Battle
Eichel.
tested. Yeah.
Too good.
Los Angeles Kings, Edmonton Oilers. This is actually a really tough one.
Yeah, I can't. I think Ekholm's a big blow, and I don't think they overcome it.
Ooh.
And I go L.A. in 6.
LA
Really?
6.
6.
That means winning in Edmonton.
What do you do?
I am taking the Oilers, and I'm taking them in 6. Reason being, I think the series is going to be very close, very tight, low-scoring games. And in those games, who's going to be the one to break it open? It's still the guys who are the best players.
Give me Oilers in 6 too.
And Kemper is way better than I thought.
It's not
even when
I
he
don't
won.
Look at your pick and go, whoa, it's like, are we sure Stu Skinner's there? Are we sure without Ekholm their D is good enough? There's lots of questions. How healthy are they?
But, they're getting Kane back here, I guess, now. Frederick is kind of a question mark for them. But they have Leon Draisaitl, who's going to be the MVP probably, and he won the Rocket Richard. They have Connor McDavid. Those guys still play for the Oilers?
They're still there.
Okay, I'll take them.
Toronto Maple Leafs, Ottawa Senators. This is a fun one.
I go Leafs in 6.
Leafs in 6.
Yeah.
I also took Leafs in 6. I know everyone out there is like, of course you guys take the Leafs.
Of course,
like there's not a metric where Ottawa is
and
the
everybody's
going to
accuse us of Leaf Hour.
They won the
lovers.
Atlantic. We,
So, in my brain, there are ways that I can sort of like justify things and like my sports curse mind that I think. And I do think in my mind that it's better if I would pick Ottawa to win this series. But I just can't do it.
You can't do it.
So like
No.
I believe that the Leafs are going to win, and I believe it's going to be in 7 games. If you're talking about demons, you're talking about whatever, the old stuff with the Battle of Ontario, it always goes 7 games. Every series they've played has gone 7 games. Give me the Toronto Maple Leafs in 7 games.
Ottawa as a team does defend pretty well. Gals talked to them about them taking away time and space. They're physical.
I dream about a world that just blow their doors off and sweep them, but there's just no way that happens.
Can they play like Florida played the Leafs about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks?
Boy, that's a big ask.
Because
not many teams can do that.
That's the time and space that you're going to have to take away from these guys.
Tampa Bay, Florida. This is another doozy. Boy, lots of pick'ems here. I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay, I'm going to say 6 games. I just feel like Florida has looked off. They've been not quite right. We don't know if Kachuk's back. We don't know how Ekblad's going to look after months off. I just feel like I'm not as confident in Florida as I have been years past.
I was so close to going with you, but they were my pick at the beginning of the year to go back and repeat. I think if they can split the first 2 games and get Ekblad back, it'll take away Seth Jones's
pressure
2 or 3 minutes that he falls when he's got no reason to fall.
Yep.
And yeah, I still got them as champions.
So I'm changing mine to 7 games, but you got Florida going the
I got
distance?
Florida. I got a Florida in 7.
We both see 7 games. I'm TB.
I want to selfishly pick Tampa because I think a Tampa matchup for the Leafs, if they get to the second round, is a much better one. But I have a hard time picking against Florida. I really do. So give me Florida in 7 games.
Wow.
Yeah.
2 Florida picks. Okay. Yeah. Washington, Montreal. Are we going to get an upset prediction
Washington
anywhere?
in 4.
Whoa. But what's your actual pick?
Washington in 4. They're listen, the Habs are a nice story.
Yeah.
Washington's too big, too strong.
Too big.
It's just they're just too, but they're a bunch of men. And the Habs aren't big enough. I think the Habs are going to get blown out of the water. And that's not just
I don't see blown out of the water. I give them a couple of games, but I just think Washington.
Get the brooms out, baby.
Washington's a good, big hockey club that plays the right way.
Yeah, I got Washington in 6.
6? Really think, you watch them. I watched them barely beat Carolina's B team. They lose to the Blackhawks. You watch that Saturday night game against the Leafs?
I'm doing 5.
It's 4, boys. Come on.
Yeah, I'm giving them 1.
Yeah.
Last series, the one everyone is most excited about, Carolina, New Jersey.
Who plays for New Jersey? Everybody
Hamilton.
He's back. It's good.
I'm going to have a loner pick on this one.
You went Devils?
I'm going Devils.
I went Devils too.
Wow,
Really?
really?
Yeah, I did.
Shocked.
I did.
That.
I see no goalie for Carolina.
I'll be different and say Carolina. But I think there's definitely a case there. There's 2 goalies for the Devils and none of them for Carolina. But give me Carolina.
I'm just going based on.
I'm going 6 games just because.
Carolina in 7.
Carolina 7. My one thing is that stat I've shared several times that when the New Jersey defense is healthy, they're good, and they're maybe without Siegenthaler for the whole series, but otherwise they're pretty healthy, and I think they defend pretty well in the goaltending.
Imagine Sheldon Keefe's Devils versus Toronto Maple Leafs in the conference finals. Can you imagine that?
Would you love the sound clips?
Hey, squirrel, squirrel.
Oh, National Hour. Sorry, yeah.
Okay, Stanley Cup final.
It's so sour when I talk Leafs. I love it.
Stanley Cup final pick and winner. I have Tampa Bay, Colorado, with the Lightning winning the Cup in 6 games.
Yeah.
Florida and Colorado.
Okay.
Florida, Colorado.
Yeah. And I got Florida winning the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
Because I did
6 games.
I didn't change my preseason.
Sticking with it.
You guys are wusses. Toronto Maple Leafs
over
Winnipeg Jets in the final, all Canadian final, the dream of Sportsnet. I guess maybe the Edmonton Oilers would be a dream, but give me the Toronto Maple Leafs to win Lord Stanley's mug, parade it down Yonge Street over the Winnipeg Jets, baby. Give it to me. Let's go. It's different, boys. It's car flag season, boys. It's go Leafs go season.
I did
Can't hurt
I
me
did 20
anymore.
years at Sportsnet, and we did this every year. And John Garrett would pick the
Leafs?
Vancouver Canucks
Yeah, okay.
every year.
Yeah.
Didn't matter.
And was he able to defend that
You're
pick?
our John Garrett of the Toronto Maple
Compliment.
Leafs.
John Garrett's awesome.
John Garrett's the best.
I got to tell you, I never do it. I never pick the Leafs.
You actually don't.
I would never do it. And I do feel like it's different. I feel like they've got a path, and I feel like they're going to win the Stanley Cup.
Holy smoke.
It's okay.
Listen,
And
I like
I
it.
appreciate you willing to do it.
Yes.
And guess what?
Because that takes some.
You're our super fan.
And guess what? when they lose game 1 to Ottawa?
No.
These guys stink. They had no chance.
That's what makes a fan.
Conn Smythe.
I went Barkov.
Ooh.
I got Brandon Hagel.
Oh,
This guy,
good pick.
90-plus points, Selke votes,
Dog.
playoff dog, penalty killing machine. Him and Cirelli PK. I think Dmitry Filipovich put out some highlights of them PKing today.
Dubas wanted to trade Nyes for Hagel
It was Nyes 2 first-round picks for Hagel
and Marc-Andre Fleury.
What a what if that is.
I don't know that I would do that even as good as Hagel is. 2 firsts, Fleury being.
I think you have a meeting.
Yeah, you got to talk.
You have a meeting.
Yeah.
For sure.
Hagel's turned himself into one
Stud.
heck of a player.
But this guy punched
Him
Matthew
fighting,
Tkachuk. Yes,
yeah,
that's
him
it.
fighting Matthew Tkachuk to open up that thing. All Canadians were like, "Okay, I love this guy." Who's your Leafs Conn Smythe winner?
Kyper, listening?
Yeah.
Mitchell Marner.
Oh.
Conn Smythe. And he signs a record-breaking contract, $17 million per year. For 15 years somehow.
And then you start dumping on him by October 15th.
No, I've told you, if the Leafs win, I'm done. Like, so.
You're retiring?
I'm talking about the end of my career. I'm going to go work at the beer store and be the happiest guy ever. So, there you go.
All right.
Go Leafs, go.
What a way to finish our regular season.
Yeah.
That's it.
Hey,
and
with
what a
Sammy
regular season
retiring
it was.
if the Leafs win.
Yeah. Well, it's like David Savard. David Savard announced, or told the team he's retiring.
Yeah, I wrote that about a month ago.
Did you?
In my Toronto Star and Kipper notes.
Why didn't you bring it up here so we could have talked about it?
You guys don't ask.
We talk about your articles lots.
You read it every once in a while.
Hey, did you see this from the NHL? The NHL set league-wide record attendances this year.
Is that right?
Yes.
When did this start happening that we're like...
This year, I think.
La histoire
because
du hockey.
Because they're doing 1,000 outdoor games.
No.
Well,
That's why they're setting attendance records.
Well, people are going.
that's actually
But
a
yeah,
great point. I didn't even think of that.
I
say
do an
next
outdoor
year.
game since 2003.
That's a good point, too.
I say next year we play all outdoor games.
I don't know that that's a great idea.
Think about the records you'll set.
But I think next year they're in Florida, are they not?
Yeah, they are doing
2
it.
years or something to do an outdoor game there?
Yeah.
There must have been like 20 of them this year.
I don't think there was.
two.
Okay.
I think there was like the least ever this year.
Really?
There was
There's-
that one.
There was a year where we had like
There's,
6. and
there's New Year's Day or
Yeah.
around New
I
Year's
think there's going
Day.
to be a short
There's-
hand count here, pal.
that one, the Cannon one,
But they also have the Stadium Series.
which was that one.
Oh, was it?
I think there was just 2.
Just 2?
And then it was that thrilling Blues Blackhawks.
Why does
New
it
Year's
feel like
Eve.
there were 20?
Because they beat it up pretty good. I don't know,
They-
5 years ago or
When
something.
they was like, I remember
They were beaten up so bad they sent Sam to one. to
Yeah,
cover
I
it.
went. I was like, I sat on the glass.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I got a
great
jacket.
that talks about it.
You didn't lose that on the bus.
No, where's our jacket, Sammy?
What a tune that was.
Yeah.
What a way to
Yeah.
close out our final show. Any closing playoff thoughts, overarching themes you're excited to see?
That's some fun.
It's just a game.
No, nothing.
No.
Nothing stands out.
Good. I'm excited.
Get mad at me, Ottawa. You're not going to like me for 2 weeks. Tell you
Yeah,
that
that's
much.
fun. I like that Sammy's digging in against the Sens.
2 games on tap tomorrow night. St. Louis and Winnipeg, Colorado and Dallas. Sportsnet has it all. You don't need to go anywhere else for the next 2 months except hang out with us here and everybody covering the Stanley Cup playoffs for you from Sportsnet. Our thanks to Garry Galley. For all of those that can't listen or watch live, download our podcast or watch it on YouTube. Give us a rating and review. We'd love to hear from you as well. Enjoy the start, everybody, and we're back Monday. Do it all over again, playoff style, on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show.